Coworker, Vanessa Cole, saw me pull into the office parking lot in a luxury car and asked, her voice thick with envy, "Claire, did you buy that car yourself?" I remembered my father's advice about keeping a low profile. Never let people know exactly what you have. So I answered casually, without even looking at her twice. "It belongs to my husband." 3 months later, she showed up in court with a group of people and sued me. I was completely stunned, but she cried like she was the most wronged woman in the world. "It was Claire's husband," Vanessa said through tears. "I went to her house to drop off a file. She wasn't there. Her husband saw me, and he forced himself on me. I'm pregnant with his child." The entire courtroom turned to look at me. She placed a hand over her slightly rounded stomach. "I demand $5 million in compensation, and half of her marital assets. If they refuse, I'll sue both of them for marriage fraud. $5 million, half of my assets." A wave of judgment swept across the room, but I stayed calm. There was even a faint smile on my lips as I watched her performance. Vanessa had no idea I had been single for 5 years. Yes, I was married once, but my husband, Michael Turner, died 5 years ago. "You just said you're pregnant with my husband's child," I said evenly. "Are you sure about that?" The courtroom went silent. Vanessa lifted her chin. "Of course I'm sure, Claire. Out of respect for the time we worked together, I wanted to handle this privately, but you refused to admit it. I had no choice but to take legal action. Now that we're here, you'd better tell the truth." Her mother shot me a furious look. "You're Claire Bennett, right? That monster you call a husband ruined my daughter, and he doesn't even have the courage to show up in court. If he hadn't violated her, she'd still be innocent. How else would she be pregnant?" The two of them put on quite a show. Their voices were loud, accusing, emotional. I barely blinked. I slowly shook my head. "I think you have the wrong person," I said calmly. "Instead of wasting time blaming me, you should be looking for the real man responsible. My husband would never do something like that." My words were like a match dropped into gasoline. Her mother exploded. "How can you be so sure? My daughter is young and beautiful. Men can't take their eyes off her. I'm sure your husband isn't some saint. If she hadn't gone to your house to deliver that file, she wouldn't have been attacked." Vanessa began crying harder, holding her stomach. "Because of him, my life is ruined," she sobbed. "I can't get married, and now I'm pregnant. The doctor said if I get an abortion, I might never have children again." She looked at me with red, swollen eyes. "My demands aren't unreasonable. $5 million for emotional damage and a share of your assets. After all, I'm carrying your husband's child. Your family is wealthy. Can't you afford that?" A faint, mocking smile appeared on my lips. "There it is," I said quietly. "The real you." Her face stiffened. "This was always about money, wasn't it?" Her eyes flickered for just a second. "I'm the victim here. Do I not have the right to seek justice?" I leaned back in my chair. "Vanessa, you're more calculating than I thought." Her composure almost cracked, but I wasn't done. "You just said you're pregnant with my husband's child," I repeated calmly. "Say his name." She didn't hesitate. "Michael Turner." The name hung in the air. The room felt suddenly smaller. I folded my hands together and looked straight at her. "Michael Turner," I said slowly, "has been dead for 5 years.